Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. It's 6:05 now. This is our Lead-Free DC quarterly public meeting. I am Sherry Lewis in the communications department here at DC Water, and I work very closely with our Lead-Free DC team. So I want to welcome everyone. We have a lot of topics we're going to discuss today. We'll have some quarterly updates, sharing with you our progress in our Lead-Free DC program. And for some of you folks who are on social media, you'll also see updates monthly on our progress too, so check that out. We also have upcoming events, ways to connect with our Lead-Free DC team. So we'll share that information with you and have some additional presentations on our outreach and what you can expect from our teams when they come to your home and to your neighborhood. At the very end, we will have question and answer session. So if you do have some questions, feel free to ask those at that time. We'll call on you and you'll be able to ask your question. If you do have a question during the presentations, feel free to drop that question in the chat and I'll see if I can ask that question if it is part of the ongoing discussion and where we're at. Otherwise, we'll come back to that at the very end in the question and answer session. So I want to introduce first our speakers today. We have Will Elledge, who's our Director of Engineering and Technical Services. He oversees the implementation of the Lead-Free DC program and our drinking water projects here at DC Water. So he'll share a lot of the information about the progress we're making and the number of service line replacements and some updates for you. We also have Sean Moore, who is our Lead-Free DC outreach stakeholder engagement lead. And Sean will tell you all about the process. He's the one who's out there every day talking with a lot of folks in the communities and the neighborhoods at our outreach events. So he'll share with you some of the things that you can expect and also where you can engage with us. And then finally, we have John Engel, who's our Lead-Free DC construction manager. So he has all the ins and outs about what takes place when we start doing those lead service line replacements, the work that occurs at your home, the streets, the restoration, the entire process. So John will be able to answer some of your construction type questions and let you know how that process will work, particularly as we lead up to the actual construction of those lead service line replacements. We also have our Lead-Free DC team with us here, so they'll be able to assist as well if there are any other questions that you may have. So we'll go ahead and get started now with our update and our progress for the Lead-Free DC program, and Will Elledge will take over from here.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining. As you can see here on the slide, and as you probably well know, our goal obviously is to eliminate all of the lead service lines in the district. We've been working at this for quite some time, and as of July 9th, 2025, as of today, we have replaced more than 9,000, in fact, more than 9,300 lead service lines. We have also recently released our annual Lead-Free DC report for fiscal year 24, which outlines what we need to do to accomplish our goal, as well as some of the recent accomplishments. And then one other thing that we'd like to highlight that's happened recently is we were featured in the Lead Service Line Collaborative, which is a national video that highlights some of the lead service line programs around the country. And one thing that we're very proud of is how frequently we're brought in as an example, and other communities are looking to what we're doing to help inform what they ought to be doing. So we're very proud of that national reputation we have. On the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about what we've accomplished since that last update. The last time we met was back in March, and you see an image there of our public dashboard. This is on our website. Everybody can go take a look at that anytime you want and see it's updated on a daily basis as the information, as the service lines are replaced and as the information comes into our systems. Since March, we have replaced 1,200 lead service lines, so we're making very good progress. And we've also verified over 3,800 service lines. So we've got quite a bit of good work that's been going on. That brings our verified total to about 52,000, which is about 40% of the entire system that we have either verified lead or verified non-lead, which is obviously where we're aiming for. One question that we keep getting asked on a very frequent kind of a basis. So we've provided this information on our website as well. And the next slide here is what's happening in my ward. Everyone is interested in what's the status in their ward specifically. So we have this information available now where you can see how many lead service lines are replacing, how many we estimate for each ward, as well as how many we have replaced in each ward. And obviously we're focusing on where the need is most urgent. We have work ongoing in all 8 wards. Wards 4 and 5 have the highest number of lead service lines, so we're obviously doing a lot of work in 4 and 5. One question that comes up from time to time is Ward 8 actually has the fewest lead service lines, because, and that's largely an interesting tidbit about Ward 8 and the development of the district. It's largely due to the timing of the construction when Ward 8 was developed. When it was being developed, lead lines had already fallen out of favor. So that's the reason, if anybody looks at that and wonders why Ward 8 has the fewest lead service lines. On the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about how everybody on this call can help. We want to replace all these lead service lines, but we have to have the homeowner's permission. And we recognize that you're here tonight because you care about the progress of this program. So we're welcoming, of course, help to spread that word and help people sign up. Because we need homeowners permission, there are a few different ways you can help. You can encourage your neighbors to sign up for a replacement if they need one. You can engage with our door-to-door team when they're out in your neighborhood. And you can go to our website to learn more about the replacement program and sign up.
And Will, can you talk about that right of entry form real quick? Because, you say homeowners. I think, some of the people on this call might be renters. So how does that work if you're not the actual homeowner?
So Sean can provide more specifics about it, but generally what tenants should do is talk to their landlord, talk to the owner of the building, whoever their landlord is, and encourage them to participate and facilitate that conversation in any way they can. That form does ultimately have to get signed by the homeowner. The right of entry form is important. It also helps communicate for those of you who are going to have lead service lines replaced. What are the expectations? And in that process, we'll educate you on what'll happen, what it'll look like, what happens with the restoration after the fact, and through that entire process. So that right of entry authorization form is important, as well as the process of getting all the information from us and us sharing the information with you. Sean, anything to add on the homeowner, tenant, landlord component?
Sure. So you're correct that it is the homeowner or the premise owner that needs to sign that form. We do have a tenant toolkit that provides some tips and some information to help tenants to get their landlord or their whoever they rent from to sign that authorization form. It's really important. It is truly the key to us being successful in this program, is because we have to have that permission. So we can't get to our goal unless we have people sign that form to allow us to do the work. So yes, it is the homeowner, but we want to facilitate however we can to work between the tenant and the homeowner to get that agreement signed so that we can get that construction underway.
All right. Well, that sounds like the perfect transition to you, Sean, as we begin to discuss some of our outreach and other things that will be helpful to a lot of the folks here.
Perfect. Also, I did want to say that the right of entry authorization form is available on our website on dcwater.com/lead. You can see it there, dcwater.com/lead agreement actually, or there's a DocuSign version of that form available on our website as well for people who are eligible and would like to go ahead and sign up in a digital type of way. So, I really enjoy talking about this program and getting out into the community to talk about it. So if you're around during this month of July, I'll be all over the place. I know we're working with DCPS and we'll be attending their Health Hub events in middle schools across the city. Trying to partner with different community groups like Places of Worship Advisory Board. I'll be attending their meeting on the 11th, as well as the Ward 8 clergy on the 12th. We'll also be over in Rock Creek Park with the Park Service doing their Water Power Day with the students. And you can find us at the ANC 80 block party coming up on July 19th. I also want to point out on July 26th, this will be our second time participating in the DMV Made Festival down on the mall. And that's presented by Social Art and Culture. We're excited to be able to join them and talk about Lead-Free DC and provide resources to residents around what we're doing with Lead-Free DC. Next. So how do you engage with us? First and foremost, if you have questions regarding our Lead-Free DC programs, you can email those directly to our lead inbox, the lead@dcwater.com. You can also call our lead hotline, the 202-787-4044 number. I do recognize that some folks aren't as technical, well, they don't feel as comfortable using electronics, emails and others. So if you had a question about what type of service line material you had, you could just call the lead hotline and they can work with you to help you find that material out. And if you do indeed have a service line and our lead service line and are eligible to have that replaced, they will work with you to walk you through that process. If you want to find out if you have a lead service line, you can visit our lead map, dcwater.com/lead map. We'll take you directly to the lead map, and there you can put your address or format any address in the city into that lead map, and you'll be able to see the type of service line material that is present at that address, and any additional information that we may have, like when it was changed. All of that information, that detail can be found on our lead map. You can contact
Sean,
me if, yes.
Sean, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you for just a second because we have a related question from someone who has gone to the lead map, and on the dashboard under the inventory of the public service type, it says verified, where it says verified non-lead and the premise material status, and inventory private service type, it says both are suspected non-lead for their address. So they want to know, does this mean that DC Water will or will not replace the service lines? So can you tell them what that lead map, if they go there, what those different things mean?
Sure. So I know everyone doesn't have the lead map in front of them, but I'll just run through it briefly. If you're on the map and you see red on that map, that means it's a verified lead service line at that property. If you see orange, it's suspected. We're not certain. We don't have definitive proof, but everything points to that being a lead service line if it's orange. If you look at the map and you find yellow, that means we don't have any information on that particular residence. So we'll need to do a verification process to understand what type of service line material is there. If you see green like this, the message here, that means we think it is non-lead. Everything points to it, but we don't have the definitive proof to say that we know 100% sure that that is a non-lead service line. So when they are non-lead, when you see that green, that means DC Water will do a verification process on that particular home. It may be a little bit down the road, but everything points to that being not lead. And if you see blue on the map, that is a verified non-lead. So that means you have a service line that is that's copper or some other material that does not contain lead.
Thanks for that.
Sherry, Sean, I just want to add one quick thing there. The question is also specifically, it sounds like in the question that the public side is, when they pull up the data, specifically the little pop-up window, that the public side is listed as verified non-lead and the private side is suspected non-lead. So part of the question there is when you look at the map as the dot, it's the color of the worst case scenario. So in this case, that would be the suspected non-lead, which is the, Sean, that's the orange, right?
Suspected non-lead would be green.
No, green. Thank you. So that's why you see that difference there. And does this mean that DC Water will or will not replace the service line? Can you walk them through that on the suspected?
Yeah. So I think the bottom line, what I'm hearing, and to answer the question, is that we are going to go out and we will verify all of the lines, and if we verify that it's non-lead, then there's no work for us to do. But if that suspected non-lead one does turn out to be lead, then we will replace that service line. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
Okay, perfect.
All right. So again, you can reach out to me directly, sean.moore@dcwater.com, or 202-7879. 787-4049. If you would like me to come out and do a presentation to your community group, meet with some folks in your community, come out and present to your ANC or civic association, I can certainly do that and talk to you about lead-free DC and what we're doing and how it impacts your particular community. Also, throw in a pitch here for our newsletter. Please, if you would go to dcwater.com/lead, you can sign up to receive our quarterly newsletter, which will give you highlights on our, how we're doing in terms of our progress towards meeting our goal. We also highlight some of the folks who participate in our program, who work on our program to make this goal of getting lead-free DC to a reality and to a finish to make that possible. Next. So let's talk about moving from the letters to lead-free and talk about outreach and pipe material checks. All right, so just to tell you a little bit about lead-free DC. So back in 2019, DC Water combined and created the combined multiple service line replacement projects under the lead-free DC banner. So lead-free DC covers all DC Water's lead pipe replacement programs. And we have two types of programs that we offer. We offer programs that are initiated by DC Water, and then we offer programs for replacements that are initiated by customers. Our next slide. So for the replacement programs that are initiated by DC Water, whenever DC Water initiates a program or replacement, it is free for the homeowners. So the programs that we're talking about and what we're predominantly here to talk about today are DC Water initiated programs. You'll see our BiBlock program and our small diameter water main program. Those are two of the programs that we're using to replace service lines across the city. For the BiBlock projects, DC Water is selecting blocks from across the city using prioritization, looking at things like the total number of service lines on a block, as well as the presence of populations like children. And that helps us to prioritize those areas where we're using our BiBlock replacements. We also have our small diameter water main program. With small diameter water mains, we're replacing the full water main on the street, as well as all the service lines attached to it. What that allows us to do is to improve the quality and reliability of our system, and for all the residents on that block to provide them with better water quality through replacing their water main. So those are both free for homeowners, and that's free for public side replacements as well as private side replacements. Just to make sure folks understand public versus private, the service line, the private side of the service line goes from the home to the property line, and that's the responsibility of the homeowner. And then the public side of the service line goes from the property line to the water meter and then to the water main, and that's managed and maintained by DC Water. So DC Water maintains the public space, but the homeowner is typically responsible for the private space. So with programs and projects like our BiBlock and small diameter water main projects, we're providing that free replacement on both the public and private side. So homeowners don't incur any cost, even if it's a full service line replacement. Also, when we're doing emergency repairs, during those emergency repairs, we also provide service line replacements. And again, those would be full service line replacements on public and private property during that process. So the other type of programs that we have are customer initiated programs. And we have two of those that I want to talk about today. The first is our lead pipe replacement assistance program, which is, again, customer initiated. This program covers those homes that have a lead service line on the private side only. You may hear folks say you have a partial service line, a partial lead service line on the private side only. So when you have that private side lead service line, DC Water has a program, our lead pipe or lead pipe replacement assistance program. We call it LPRAP for short. And that will replace that service line on that private property for free. With that program, homeowners don't have to wait. They can go to the lead map, which we just talked about. If you look at your address on the lead map and it said DOEE LPRAP application, that means you're eligible to go directly to the application and apply to participate in that program so that you get your free service line replacement. Again, that's only if you have a private side only replacement and it's already selected to be a part of the lead pipe replacement assistance program. The homeowner selects a contractor to do the work once the application is approved by DOEE, because it is a partnership that we do with Department of Environment, Energy and Environment. And then DC Water will pay that contractor directly. Now, for homeowners who have a full lead service line, that means both private and public side, who want to get that replacement, and DC Water doesn't have any construction planned right now. So the homeowner doesn't want to wait for their free service line replacement. In that case, homeowners can do a voluntary early service line replacement. In that, when that happens, the homeowner is responsible for all costs on the private side of the property. So homeowners would be required to pay for that. But DC Water would coordinate with the contractor to do that replacement on the public side. So, you know, in that case, homeowners are opting out of their free replacement, but they are getting their work done sooner, and DC Water is sharing that cost. So it is less than what the homeowners would pay if they had to pay for the full service line replacement themselves. So how does this start? So really, the outreach is a key part of what we do here. With these DC Water initiated programs, DC Water is determining the blocks that are going to go forward for construction, whether it's small diameter water main or bi-block projects. And once we identify those blocks, we will start outreach on those blocks. So we'll start outreach even before we send those blocks out to construction. So the way that process works, we identify those blocks. Once we've identified those blocks, we'll send those out and we'll start doing outreach to get people to sign up for those blocks. Once we start that outreach process, the whole contractor selection process, we'll send it out to bid to different contractors so that, you know, we can get someone on board to do that construction work. So one of the challenges, one of the things to always remind folks about the program is that if you signed up right at the beginning when we started doing our outreach, it could be as long as 2 years. So it'd be 1 to 2 years between the time that you sign up and the time that you actually get your replacement, simply because the process, it is a long process and it takes a while to do it. I always like to say this to people to remind you that every single hole that we dig is dug by hand. So it is a process that takes a while. So it's not quick. So we always ask for patience, but it is, we are working to keep you informed about what's going on with construction. We're sending out quarterly mailings to folks who sign up so that they know the status of their construction, and they to just help them to know that they're still in queue for their replacement. So what does outreach look like? So we have a pretty robust outreach that we do in terms of trying to get people to sign up. Of course, we have our public communications, so we use social media, the like, and we do presentations. I go out and I talk to all those community groups like I talked about before, but we do our direct outreach, we do mailing, we do our door-to-door canvassing, and those canvassers go out and knock on doors and ask people to sign up for the program. We also use door hangers and automated calls and mailings and different resources. We also, throughout this process, we have a lot of different notifications and instructions that go out to homeowners. We talked about the right of entry form, which is the key to this program. We have to have folks to sign that form so that we can get the work done. Then we have different levels of notifications that come before, during, and after construction, as well as updates, test pit notifications, last chance letters, and the like. Just I wanted, and I know John will talk about test pits, but just so you understand what a test pit, when I talked about verification, the test pit is how we verify the service line material. So you may hear test pit. So that test pit is the key to the verification. So that's how we identify and confirm the type of service line material present. Next. So the notifications process. So let's look at that in three different ways: before construction, during construction, and after construction. So before construction, you're going to get general brochures. So we'll send that in the mail, as well as our canvassers will knock on doors and talk to residents about that. Once people sign up for, they sign the right of entry authorization, they will get a confirmation. We also send out what we call our Blue Book, which is what to expect during construction manual, basically for homeowners, that describes the entire process. And we also provide quarterly status updates, like I mentioned before, because that process can be long. But we want to make sure people know that they are in the queue and that construction will be happening. It's soon for them, or it's upcoming. So during the construction process, we have quite a few notices as well. We'll send out an initial construction notice to homeowners to let them know that construction is about to begin. We have project information sheets, which really detail exactly what's going to happen on that project. You know, the type of the blocks, the coverage area, all that information will be on the project information sheet. So homeowners to answer any questions that they may have about the timing and the scope of the work. Again, I talked about test pits. And as we do the test pit process, we'll do notification door hangers to let folks know, that we are going to do a test pit. We do that 72 hours before. And then after the test pit, we provide door hangers that let them know what the results of that test pit were. And we also, during this construction process, at the end, we have our last chance letters. And last chance letters, they go out after, we've made multiple attempts to try to get folks to sign up, or if, and this is us saying, hey, we really want you to do this, but we're going to be closing out this block pretty soon. So that contractor is going to try 3 times to get you scheduled, and hopefully you don't wait till that point, but because we don't want you to miss it. But after those 3 tries, then the block may close, and then you will have missed that opportunity to get your service line replaced for free. And then after construction, our inspector, once a replacement has been completed, they'll provide you with a flushing kit and instructions to let you know what you need to do after the replacement. We also, part of our restoration process, you'll see notices for repaving and other restoration. We'll send that via mail to homeowners to let them know what they can expect and the timing that they can expect before we'll come out and do that construction to do final pavement, concrete repair, and those things. And then we have a survey. We of course, hope that we're doing a great job through this work. And so we'll follow up with calls and surveys because we want our customers' input. And we want to hear their feedback so that we know how we're doing, so that we can either you say, great job, keep doing it, or say, hey, here are ways that we can improve this process. So we're working continuously to get better and to do our best. So we definitely appreciate the feedback, and so that we can do a better job for all our residents across the city. Next. So I'm going to turn it over to John, so John can talk a little bit about test pits. I know, Sherry, I see someone with their hand up. I don't know if you wanted to check for questions or.
So we'll take those questions. If you've got your hands up, we'll take those questions at the end. If you have something pertinent to what's being discussed right now, please feel free to put that into the chat, and I will help get to those questions. So, and as we're going, some of these questions do go to John. So I'm just going to give you a couple of some of the questions, and I know that you can address these as you go through your slides. There were some questions about how we actually do the replacement, whether or not we're, reaming the new pipe through the old one, and exactly what removing of the old pipe is. And then we have another question about how long it will be between the time of construction and the time of restoration. So if you can kind of consider those as you go through the slides, I know those are all questions that you're going to be answering and topics you'll be discussing. So John, I'll let you go ahead and start that, and I know you'll get to those questions.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Sean. So good evening, everybody. My name is John Engel. I'm one of the construction managers on the lead-free project, working day in and day out with the contractors and the homeowners to make sure that we get the material identified and lead replaced and ensure that all of your homes that we're entering and replacing this lead on are left as we found it or better. And so I'm going to go a little over the construction process from start to finish, from mobilization on your block to that material identification, into some of the different scenarios of those lead replacements, and then finally the final restoration of your block and some timelines to expect. So first off, what are test pits? We've talked about it a little bit. It's how we're going to identify all of that suspected lead, suspected non-lead, unverified, or suspected material. Contractor is going to go excavate and look for it. So that's going to look like our picture here. So we're going to dig two approximately 4 foot by 4 foot holes, and they're going to be in two locations between typically the street and your home. So the first test pit is going to be typically near the meter. So that's could be in the sidewalk, could be in the tree space. The second test pit is going to be on the property line. So we're going to be on the public side of the property line, and we're looking for a couple of things. First, we're looking for what the public side material is at the meter. That's a good example of what to expect on the public side. That property line test pit or public side of the property line is going to give us an idea of what's headed into your home. There's also something called a point of entry inspection, where we're going to be trying to verify the material inside your home, and that gives us a complete picture of what we have. And that's when the process begins with the right of entry agreement and us trying to schedule that replacement. So I saw a question about the depth. So typically 4 foot by 4 foot is going to be the width and the length of the excavation, and the depth is going to depend on your home. So if there's a retaining wall or something like that, that could be 4 feet, it could be 6 feet, it could be 12 feet. The contractor is going to safely excavate to the depth that your water service line is. Typically, they're going to be about 4 feet deep. And you really want to highlight that these test pits, especially with the historic nature of DC, that property line could be in some pretty wild places. Sometimes that property line is nearly at the curb line of the street. Sometimes it's at or underneath a porch, and the contractor is going to work with the property and ensure that we're being as minimally invasive as possible, but we're going to get as close to that property line as we can to make sure that we don't miss some kind of transition. In the decades that the service lines were installed, we want to make sure that we're not missing some small segment of lead. So
So John, there was something that was asked earlier about, did DC Water install the service lines on the private side of the property many years ago? And then just a clarification, am I hearing you right? Because most people think that, the general rule of thumb has always been the sidewalk and, out to the street is public property and my yard is mine. But this sounds like the property line can go like right through the middle of my yard, or what I think is my yard and my driveway. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep. So absolutely. Our contractors all have surveyed drawings prior to going out and conducting these test pits. So they're going to be looking again at that meter, the green space, and each home is going to be unique, both for the test pits and for the replacements. But that property line may be well within what someone may consider their yard, but that is public space, and we need to make sure that we check that transition from the public to private space. And to answer the private side question, during these replacement programs, we are, this is a free replacement of that lead. but we can't operate on someone's private property without that right of entry agreement. And that's why it's really essential if we can get that right of entry agreement, as soon as we get this test pit completed, we can schedule with the homeowner. And the last little piece on test pits is the timing. So 72 hours prior to excavation of those test pits, the contractor will be posting no parking signs on your street. So you'll see kind of a idea of how much of the block may be impacted. And you'll also receive a door hanger, saying, hey, we're going to be on your property, in 72 hours. And this is a good chance to engage our inspector, engage the contractors. If there's, specific plants or specific considerations for your yard that you want us to consider during those test pits. This also is going to start a 4-month timer that our contractors are required to complete. So from the time of their mobilization to completing test pits, the replacements, and final restoration of yard, sidewalks, and the road, we have a 4-month timer. So 4 months start to finish is what you can expect for the process.
Hey, John.
Next
I
slide.
John, can I just, you first, Sean.
I was just going to add regarding installation. Someone asked about DC Water installing the pipes. The pipes are actually installed by the homeowner or the builder or whoever put that property, built that property. And the entire service line is actually owned by the homeowner. It's just that DC Water maintains the public side and the homeowner is responsible for the private side. So do know that it is the homeowner who owns that service line. Whoever builds that property is the one who installs that service line. DC Water does not do that.
Great, thank you.
Did Will have a question?
I was going to chime in on the same thing, and Sean said it perfectly, so I'm good. Back to you.
Thank
All
you.
right, well, let's
So
go ahead and start, John, and then as you go through, somebody else had a question about sidewalks being jackhammered and things like that. So if you can think about that as you're addressing things as we move forward.
Yep, absolutely, and we'll cover that in our final restoration piece. So why test pits matter? Hopefully, we've made it pretty clear that this is how we find out where the lead is. In addition to helping us schedule that replacement with the homeowner and getting the lead out of the city, it also allows us to better forecast other homes. So as we go through our data, we're able to model and hopefully get a better map of what other homes may be. So as Sean discussed earlier, this is our kind of color code. If you go to that public facing dashboard and look up your home, you can see if it's suspected lead, no information, or suspected non-lead. Again, red, we verified it. We know it's lead and needs to be scheduled for replacement. Blue is going to be verified non-lead. You're good to go. And anything outside of that blue bubble, highly recommend go ahead, sign that ROE. The replacement is still going to be scheduled with you. You have a chance to have a conversation with the contractor, but it allows us to move forward quickly and minimize impact to you and your block. All right, so what happens after test pit? So contractor shows up, they're going to dig those 2 test pits. They're going to create a lot of reports for us, and we are going to give a door hanger with those results. Within a few days, that should be in the public dashboard. You can see what those results are as well. But first off, you have confirmed lead. We found it. We have a right of entry agreement signed. Sometimes same day, if you're available, the contractor's like, hey, we're here. We have time today. We can replace, public side, private side, full replacement. Or, hey, if you're not going to be home for a week or 2, the contractor will schedule that with you and replace the lead. They find lead. They don't have that right of entry. Sean mentioned the 3 attempts by the contractor to schedule that, last chance attempt. If after that process, they're unable to get the homeowner to agree, what we want to avoid wherever possible is cutting the lead. So we'll move on and we'll do that permanent restoration, and your home will miss the opportunity for this free replacement. Confirm not lead. So no lead in the ground. You're good. We're going to update our records. We're still going to give you those test pit results, and we're going to temporarily restore the yard. We're also going to temporarily restore the road, temporarily restore sidewalks. So we're going to saw cut anything we do. Once we saw cut it, there may be jackhammering breaker, with a backhoe or something to pull that material out so we can get into the road, into the sidewalk, anything like that. If we're excavating in the green space, we're going to protect, grass, plants. We'll have tarps down. We're going to make sure we don't have any kind of erosion or runoff into any storm drains. And if you have any special concerns, please share that with our inspector, with our contractors, and we will correct it. If there's special cases like if you've got flagstone or some kind of a specially improved driveway, something like that, talk to our inspector. Talk to the crews, and we are always looking for ways to work with a homeowner and ensure that this free replacement doesn't impact you outside of removing the lead. That's our goal. All right, so final restoration. So after that test pit and replacement, temporary restoration is going to look like some asphalt. It could be some temporary seeding and strawing. When we get to the end of that 4-month cycle, usually around the 2.5, 3-month mark from the start of their mobilization, they're going to get final seed and straw. They're going to be topsoil, at least 4 inches, to ensure that grass is going to take and grow. The road is going to be completely repaved. So we call it mill and overlay, but it'll be resurfaced, new striping, new speed humps, also any affected plants. So if there's any kind of special considerations, we're going to put those back. The big thing here is this is weather dependent. So if your replacement happens in February, it may take us a couple months before it's warm enough for us to pave, or it's warm enough to put concrete down, or for grass to grow. So we work with DDOT very closely to monitor any of these blocks that are open. Obviously, if your home or road needs some additional maintenance for those temporary patching, I will make sure the contractor maintains that to your satisfaction and in DDOT standards. And then as soon as the weather warms up, we'll be back doing that final restoration: curbs, sidewalks, roads, your yard, anything else. Did I miss any questions from the chat room?
No, I think you've got them.
So I think the installation method was one of them. So
Yes.
we typically use what we call a trenchless method. We have 2 ways where we can either pull the new 1-inch copper line using the existing lead service line. We can pull it in that way, just from 2 test pits along the path of the pipe. Or we can do another method that uses a small boring device to basically shoot the copper from each location. Both of those are trenchless. Every property is different, and in certain circumstances there may be some additional excavation needed, but every home is going to be considered individually by the contractor, with consulting you how you want it finished, if there's special considerations for inside. Anything like that. So we're replacing from the water main up to the first fitting inside your home, and within that envelope, we're making sure it's to code and into your satisfaction.
So John, it does require going inside someone's home to connect it. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yep, absolutely. So as part of that ROE, it's going to make sure that a responsible 18 or older adult is home to be there for the work. But what we call the point of entry is where that water service line comes into the home. It's typically in a crawl space or a basement. With some of our older homes, it could be on an outside facing wall, sometimes even a garage, depending on the type of home. But the contractor will be working outside, and wherever that service line comes into the home, they'll be opening up the drywall. Anything they open, they'll put an access panel, new shutoff valve, drywall paint, and restore it as they found it.
And in part of that process, John, because obviously when we go inside, we don't know what somebody's plumbing and things are like inside their home, right? If we, in the process of doing this replacement, find that there's a faulty valve or some issue with their shutoff, do we notify the homeowners about it? And sort of what happens in those situations where something happens, but it's not a result of, it's not related to the lead service line replacement itself.
Yep, absolutely. So, we're replacing the meter, we're replacing that shutoff valve to the home. So there should be no issues with any of our work. The inspector will also walk the homeowner through the flushing instructions. We recommend pulling any strainers out of, from the faucets you intend to flush from, using things like a, basement bath or a utility sink, things like that, to help minimize the, any chances of problems. But if there are any issues, I think we provided our lead@dcwater.com number. We also have a customer helpline. Any kind of issues, we'll refer to the contractor and we'll work with the homeowner to try and resolve those issues.
I think the question was, John, was like, if we happen to notice or see that there is a problem with the plumbing or something on the homeowner's side, is that something we would notify them of?
Yep, absolutely. And it's also one where we wouldn't want to, if there's a plumbing issue or say there's electrical issue with their home, and we see that, we're going to let the homeowner know prior to starting, so we don't make anything worse. So if there's an issue outside of kind of our envelope of work, we'll notify the homeowner. We'll make recommendations for what maybe needs to be fixed, and then we can come back and address that lead service line.
And we had another clarifying question about the test pits, and whether they're dug on the public side and the property line, regardless of whether somebody signed a right of entry.
Yes, so great question. So the test pit, typically at the meter and then near the property line, those are always going to be in the public space. So those test pits will be dug if the material classification is something that needs to be verified. So unless it's verified lead or verified non-lead, we will be digging to identify the material at or around the meter and then near the property line, to see if there's a transition as it goes into the property line or into the private property.
Okay, and one other clarification: if we do identify that there's an issue with the plumbing in somebody's home, is that something that we would fix, or do they need to bring in a licensed plumber?
So if it's outside of our envelope of work, it will be the homeowner trying to identify whatever issue it is. Any kind of issue with our quality of work, our scope of work, the contractor is absolutely responsible to fix and to make right any kind of damage associated with any issues. They'll be responsible to fix. Or there's also a claims process if there's a disagreement over that. But at DC Water, the contractors, everybody wants to replace the lead and ensure the homeowners are happy at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
John,
okay.
I
Go ahead,
also
John.
wanted to add that we also install the curb stop at the property line when we do that replacement, which is just another external shutoff for the water. And again, we do install a new shutoff valve on the inside. I just wanted to make sure that was clear that when we connect the new pipe to the existing plumbing, there will be a new shutoff valve installed at that point.
Great, thanks for that clarification, Sean. John, do you have anything else that you want to add, or are we ready to open it up to questions?
I think that's all I've got. Thank you for letting me share.
Okay, so we're going to make sure before we start with the questions, we'll make sure that you're aware of our lead-free DC resources. Everything that we discussed here as far as the information can be found at our dcwater.com/lead. That's the inventory map, our construction dashboards, the service line material, dashboards. If you want to know anything about the health effects of lead in drinking water, or even how to test your water for lead, we have all that information, as well as some facts and questions and information, FAQs on our program that are that you can find on that site. So if you need any information, just remember dcwater.com/lead. and that'll take you to all the various information that you may need. And as we mentioned, we do have our lead hotline that you can call as well. So we'll go ahead and get our first question here. Let's see. Wanda, I think you had a question first.
I'm gonna unmute her mic. Hold on
Okay.
one second. All right, you are unmuted, Ms. Thompson.
Okay. Thank you for taking my question. Well, just a couple of things. One, my slides never advanced, so that was one question. But for Mr. Moore, I saw that you said that you were going to be out on the 12th at Ward 8 clergy meeting, and I co-convened that meeting, and just wanted to see if you wanted to have some time on the agenda, maybe 10 minutes. So I wanted to just see if you wanted to do that, because we could put you on the agenda in the second hour if you wanted to.
Okay, that sounds great. I will give you a call, Ms. Thompson, and we can coordinate everything.
Okay, and then I had a couple questions, but I'll follow up with you. All right, that was it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Wanda. And Wanda, just so you know, this is all recorded and going to be on our YouTube channel. So you can see the slides. I apologize that there appears to have been an issue for you, but you should be able to see all the slides in the replay on our YouTube channel.
Right, and I'm on the alliance, but okay, I will try to see if I can somehow get the slides, because I didn't see anything beyond.
Okay, and I can probably send them to you. We can get your information and send that to you.
All right, thank you.
So let's go to Marva next. We'll get you unmuted and you can ask your question.
All right, now unmuted, Marva.
Marva, you can unmute yourself now and ask your question.
You might need to dial *6 on Marva to unmute yourself.
I think that's is it Michael? I think it's showing up as Marva on my end, but is that Michael by chance?
Marva on my end, definitely unmuted from our end. Yeah, she have to definitely unmute from that end, because we're unmuted on our end. There may be some technical difficulty. You might need to come back to you, Marva, but you're unmuted from our end.
You're muted, Sherry.
But Sherry, we might need to come back to Marva.
Okay, that's fine. I'm sorry. I must have been muted on my end. I said we'll go to BS next.
Oh, okay, sorry. All right, you're now unmuted.
So folks, just to make sure, we'll give you the ability to unmute yourself.
Yeah.
So once we say you're unmuted, you'll have to unmute yourself to ask your question.
Okay.
Hello.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah,
Hi.
there you go.
Sorry for that. Yeah. I believe our lead service line was replaced about 20 years ago, actually. I can see that there's copper on the inside, but I suppose the public service line to the meter, I can't see. So that remains a question. I believe the whole thing was replaced 20 years ago. However, I did get a notice from the city that it's orange and suspected lead service line. And then, so I went so far as to have it tested through your testing system. And in fact, lead was present. And so my question is, if you go ahead and you dig a test pit on both sides and you see copper, yet the water is testing for lead, what will you do?
John, do you want to answer that?
Sure. So that would be a pretty unusual case. Typically, we're going to find the lead that you're experiencing. If after our test pits we don't find lead, between the main and the meter, or somewhere between the meter and in your home, at those three places we look at, we refer it to our water quality team to maybe do additional testing and see what could be the case. Now, please keep in mind that we are only looking at the water service line between the water main and that first fitting inside your home. If inside the home there is still lead pipes, that's going to be on the homeowner. That's their responsibility inside the walls of the house past that first fitting. So please keep that in mind in case you do have maybe some legacy pipe inside the walls of the house that depending on where you tested from, that could be showing positives if the water service line has been replaced.
Yeah, all of the interior pipes were replaced 20 years ago. So I know there's no lead inside the house. But I guess my second question would be, is how much visual inspection do you do? Like in our case, between the house and the main, you'll dig a test pit, and if you see copper, will you continue digging to the actual main in order to rule out that there isn't some portion of that line is lead?
So we won't typically excavate the entire service line because during the typical installation method, they're pulling a stretch of line and then installing it at either end. So what we're looking for is transitions in the typical construction places. So at the meter, you have typical connections. At the property line, you have typical connections, and inside the home, you normally have a connection. If for some reason you had a positive finding and we were seeing non-lead in our normal places, that may warrant an additional test pit maybe at the main, or that may be followed by that additional water quality test to see if maybe there's something else.
Who do I coordinate with now in order to make sure that will be done?
So when the lead project comes to your house, they'll start with the test pits. Once you get that test pit verification, that's going to be the trigger there. If for some reason it was showing non-lead, that's something where inspector or that lead inbox say, hey, I got a non-lead test pit, but my results show a positive finding. Could you guys please investigate a little deeper? And we dive into that.
Okay, just in my case, I received a hang tag on the door and signed a contract. So how do I tell? Is it imminent now that I've signed this document, or I'm 2 years down the road, according to your earlier slide?
If you email the lead inbox, we can tell you the expected range of your home and what project you may fall under, because it could fall under that main replacement project, or it could fall under by block.
How do I find that out?
If you email the lead at dcwater.com, I think we have it.
Okay.
I think we can pull it up here in just a second. Just email the lead inbox and say, hey, here's my address. Could you please tell me when to expect? Oh, yep, Nadine just dropped in the chat, and we can look at it and let you know.
Okay, but in terms of like this particular unusual case, is there someone to reach out to specifically, or is it just like the foreman that shows up is going to have enough knowledge and authority to do the right thing?
So we'll take the inquiry that you're about to send, and if it's an imminent construction project, we'll let the construction manager know, hey, flag this, and then once we get the test pit results, we'll either reach out or try and schedule a replacement.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll
No
have
problem.
Nadine also, she put the email into the chat, so lead@dcwater.com for you to email us or anyone else who might have any follow-up questions after this. And Nadine, if you could also drop in the Lead-Free DC hotline as well, where people can also call if they would like to do that, that would be great. And then we can certainly work with you to determine what the next steps are for you. One clarifying thing I wanted to ask is sort of based on some of your questions. I think one of sort of the ideas was sort of asking like, do we know do we have lead in water mains, or is it just the service lines? So if somebody's concerned about looking at it from, their connection with their private side all the way out to the main, is there any concerns there?
That was my fear, because like I say, I suspect, I'm pretty confident that the entire service back to the main was lead, and I know in fact that it's all new construction inside. So my question is, where's the lead coming from?
Yeah. So John, I guess what I was asking though, to clarify for you was,
Yeah.
Is there any chance that there could be lead coming from the actual main?
Right. That's my thought too.
So I think the final authority on that would be our water quality folks. There's no like lead mains, if you will. There's very trace amounts and some very old like valves or joints, but those are that's part of our scheduled replacement, just like the buy block program. So I don't think that would give you any kind of significant reading. Our water quality team is going to be the authority on that one, and so we can certainly pose them that question. But if they have new construction, I would still be slightly concerned about that main to property line, because a lot of time those renovations may not replace the meter. They would stop at the property line. So if you have records of that replacement, we can certainly take a look at those and try and update it. But I'd really be looking at the test pit results of that property line and the meter to see if that's existing lead.
Yeah.
Or galvanized.
I mean, the ultimate document is the lead test itself, which finds lead. So, that's what's driving the investigation here. Like I say, I think the entire thing was replaced with copper. So I'm trying to figure out where the lead's coming from, and I want you to ensure that you can go back as far as you can with the replacement to ensure that it's arriving into my service line, or it's the entire service line is copper, and that the lead is coming from the water itself.
I'll just clarify that the only place that you'll find lead in this system is between the water main and the house. That's the only place where you would encounter lead. DC Water's water distribution system doesn't have any lead pipes in it. Other than that service line, there could be internal plumbing, but I know you mentioned that it was a new home, had been fully renovated and plumbing replaced. A lot of times contractors do not replace the full service line. They may simply connect to whatever's existing. So even though you have a new house, you could still have an old service line. And I've seen that before. So you're not just the exception. It does happen.
Yeah, I did the work myself.
So sometimes you can have lead on the public side, the lead service line on the public side. It could be lead, or sometimes we could have replaced, the public side, and then the private side may have a lead service line. So I think these are I think the one thing I will say is that, our goal in this whole process is to make sure that we do investigate, verify what the service line is. And if it is verified to be lead, galvanized, or is it, what's the other one that we've added?
Brass.
Brass, that, we will do those replacements. So if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to our Lead-Free DC email and hotline. I'm going to go ahead and go to the next person. I don't have a name here. I just have a phone number, the 3616 number, we'll go ahead and get you unmuted, and then you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
And you are now unmuted.
I see you're unmuted. I can't hear any question here.
Sherry, I will add while we wait for that person that if you do have a question, it's great when you do go through our lead hotline or lead inbox, because when you have an inquiry and you go through our lead inbox, we can track that that request, so we can make sure that we get back to you in a timely manner. So if you reach out and direct your inquiries to lead@dcwater.com, our customer service team, they're really good at following up and getting you the answers, or pointing you in the direction to get your questions answered or problem solved.
Okay, I think I'm clear. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The way I just wanted to let everybody know that answered a lot of questions, but I do have one concerned about coming into my home by putting a hole in it, I guess, to connect from my main water line to the street. Well, and I also have a retaining wall in front of my house and around. Will that be disturbed as well, or will they disturb underneath it?
So that'll be, again, that we like to do a trenchless method. So they'll basically dig down to the level of your service line, and they will either pull or send, with a boring device, that new line at the level that it's existing. So your retaining wall won't be disturbed. Again, there may be an
Great.
excavation on either side of it for that test pit, but the retaining wall itself won't be disturbed.
Very good. I'm glad to hear that. Now, as far as getting into my external wall to my house, that will have to be excavated, correct, in order to get to my water line inside the home?
Nope. So they will do, pretty much in the same places that the test pits are. Those are the same locations they'll excavate for the lead service line replacement, and in that interior access panel where the point of entry or where that service line comes into your home. So wherever that shutoff valve is now is where they will access. So there's any kind of furniture or shelving or any obstacles in the way, we'd ask for that to be moved out of the way to give access to the crews. But they would be working, in a small area around that point of entry where the service line's coming into the home, again from inside the home, and then around the property line, and then around the meter.
Okay,
And
and all
John,
of
I
that will
think
be.
what I hear her asking, I'm sorry.
I was just going
Just to clarify here. Yeah, I think what she's asking is, are you going to basically excavate the entire line all the way from the connection into the home? I think you mentioned it being trenchless earlier.
Correct. So yes, there will not be a big open trench from the main to your home. There will be, again, about those test pit sized excavations at the water meter, at the main for the connection, and at the property line, for what Sean mentioned earlier. It's called a curb stop. It's a small valve that we can use to do an emergency shut off of the home, and then inside your home at that point of entry where it comes up into the home.
And just to clarify, typically we're going to use the same, where that pipe comes in now, it'll be the same hole where the new pipe comes out. So many times we're able to just attach the new pipe to the old and just pull it straight through. So it's not, generally speaking, it's not a new wall penetration. We're using that existing wall penetration.
That's what I needed to know. Okay, thank you for the clarification. Yeah, I was concerned there was going to be a whole new wall opening in my external wall outside. So that's clarifying it a lot. Yeah, so it possibly will be the same hole that the current pipe is running through.
Yep, absolutely.
Great.
Same
All right.
location, same routing.
Great. All right. Thank you.
And as part of
Pat.
our process, we do, restore the drywall and everything inside as well. So that's, you don't have to worry about that. John,
Great.
I did want to ask one thing about the test pits. If we verify that they have non-lead and we've dug the test pit, we don't need to do any replacement work at that home. When does that yard get restored?
So typically around the 3 months. So we do temporary restoration same day as the test pit. And then, around that 3-month mark, we'd begin the permanent restoration, but no longer than 4 months from that initial mobilization for the test pits. Everything would be wrapped up. Weather depending, again, that cold weather, especially in the winter, can slow down that final restoration.
Yeah. So basically what you're saying is that they, will fill in their test pit. We won't do anything else, but we don't restore everything until we do the whole neighborhood, all the yards, all at the same time at the end of the project. Is that correct?
Right. And everything's going to be made safe. So we're going to backfill everything. We're going to compact it. There'll be temporary like erosion and sediment control protection. Any kind of sidewalks will have asphalt, backfill. Any kind of excavations in the road will be compacted, backfilled, and have asphalt flush. So there's no safety hazards. There's no tripping hazards. There's no holes in your yard. Those will all be temporarily restored, and then we'll have that final restoration within that 4-month window.
Okay, that sounds great. I don't see any more hands up. Emmanuel, I'll defer to you. I'm having some technical difficulties on my end. So,
Yeah,
Emmanuel, do you see anybody else who has any questions?
yeah, Marva did call back in. I think we answered
Okay.
your question. We're gonna lower your hand, but I think Marva called back in. So I'm going to unmute you again, Marva.
Okay, it worked this time. So there's something about being on the website that doesn't work because I never saw any slides. I couldn't get into the chat. I couldn't unmute. So I came back in on the phone on the Teams app. But my question is, you spoke about so we've had 2 people come canvassing, I guess, knocking on the door, and we've signed up twice, but we have not received a confirmation. So how long does that process take? How do we confirm that we are actually on it? Because the first time they came, we thought we were on it. Then the second person came and said, no, you're not on it. And they added us, but we don't have a confirmation. So what does that sign up look like? How do we know?
Yeah. So sorry for all that confusion, Marva. That certainly is not what we want. Sean, is this something that you can address?
You're
You're
on
muted,
mute.
Sean.
I can't hear Sean. Okay, all right.
I am on mute.
Yeah.
Apologies. I was saying Nadine can chime in as well, but we are now starting making sure that we send out confirmations, some emails, notifications once we have your agreements signed. And again, you will get a notification quarterly to let you know that you are in the queue for your service line replacement. Again, I'll apologize for any confusion with it, you having to sign that twice. But yeah, we will confirm that you have received that. And if you could just, I don't want your number, but if you could call us at the lead hotline, then I can get your information and I can follow up with you directly.
Hey,
I
Sean,
think Nadine was also going to add something as well for you, Marva. She handles a lot of our customer care as far as the lead-free DC program is concerned.
Okay.
Nadine, are you
So is
able
Nadine?
Am I okay, sorry, I wasn't sure if I was
Yep.
unmuted. Thank you.
to?
So thanks for your question. And we do want to make sure that we've got your agreement on file. I can also just help you out if you want to put your email into the chat or send us an email this evening to lead@dcwater.com. I will go ahead and check your specific address and see if we've got that on file as of today. Typically, once you sign, it's going to only take about 48 hours for us to get that uploaded, and then you'll get an automated notification email back to the email that you provided on the form, and it'll just state that we've got your agreement on file and you're all signed up. And then as Sean was stating, you'll get regular emails to keep you informed and make sure that you're aware that we still got you on file and we're pending to do your replacement or verify with by doing the test bits.
Okay, all right. So I'll send an email because it has been a couple of weeks at this point, maybe even 3 weeks since the second person came.
Yes.
Understood.
Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Well, we'll follow up
All right,
with
thank
you for
you.
sure. And Nadine can look into that. Sean, one thing too that I just want to go back to is, the outreach process that you start when people start knocking on the doors, it's not right before the replacement starts, right? Isn't it? The point is we start way ahead of time because we want to
Yeah.
make sure we get everybody on the block signed up so that we can do the work.
Exactly. So we do start, like I said, once we identify the block, we start outreach. And that's why it could take a year or more to go from that initial outreach to construction. We do want to give everyone a chance to do that. We also want to make sure that when we send that construction package out to bid, that those contractors know that they're going to have homes so that they can do work. We just want to make sure that there are enough homes signed up on those blocks for them to be able to be efficient in their replacement efforts. It's a lot better if you have 80% of the homes on the block signed up than if you have 20. So it definitely it helps us to get those signed early so that we can plan construction better. But there is a gap, and again, it could take a long time. Now, we will do multiple knocks on your door. We'll do it at the beginning, and if you don't sign up, most likely you'll see us again because we want to give everyone a chance to sign up. We don't want you to miss the opportunity. And during
Which is why
construction,
we
you would
said
also
Sorry, Sean.
also during construction, before we finalize it, we'll come and knock on your door another time before construction ends, just to make sure that we give you multiple opportunities to sign up, because it is, in essence, it's free. It's thousands of dollars worth of work that DC Water is providing for free. And we don't want any homeowner to miss out on that opportunity to get this work done. So we do make a lot of effort to reach out and communicate and get folks to sign up so that they can participate in the program. I mean, it is a big investment on the DC Water, and it's something that's very impactful for us and the community at large. So it's really important to us. And it's a big goal for us to get all the lead pipes removed here in the district.
Yeah, that's great, Sean. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt you there earlier. I was going to say that is the reason why we said at the very beginning, I think Will covered it, where he said, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, get them all to sign that right of entry form, because when we get all those people signed up, we can get that construction scheduled. But if, 9 out of 10 of your neighbors haven't even signed up yet, we need to wait till we get more people. So we appreciate that, Sean. I want to thank everybody who joined us on our Lead-Free DC team tonight. And again, folks, if you need some additional resources, dcwater.com/lead. You'll find information there. And of course, our email and our Lead-Free DC hotline are in the chat. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any other questions. But thank you so much. I know we went a little longer than we'd anticipated, but we really wanted to make sure that we could answer all of your questions and assist everyone who needed it. So thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate you joining us for this meeting.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.